Hello, my name is Sriram. I'm currently a rising 9th grader. According to Ted Turner, founder of CNN, he has said that my son is now an entrepreneur. That is what someone is called when they don't have a job. Many people may think that, but everyone here today knows that's not true.
Back in your guys' day, an entrepreneur was someone that was looked down upon. Nowadays, an entrepreneur is a sought-after position. I'm sure you guys know, but all of you guys are role models to many aspiring entrepreneurs. So please, take a second and have a round of applause for yourself and all the accomplishments you guys have done.
For our next session, please welcome an innovator and a market category creator with over 2 decades of experience in mobile, wireless, cybersecurity, B2B SaaS, and more, Mr. Sriram Krishnan.
Mr. Kutral, to the stage, please.
Dayakar Puskoor is the founder and managing director of Dallas Venture Capital, which recently announced the closing of its $80 million Dallas Venture Capital Fund 2. Dayakar is a serial entrepreneur turned visionary investor who had the foresight to launch one of the first tech-focused venture funds in Dallas. Headquartered in post-telecom Dallas, the fund invested in several pioneering early-stage startups in cloud, AI, ML, and mobile technologies in Dallas, Silicon Valley, Seattle, and India. Passionate about mentoring founding teams of startups, Dayakar operates with a philosophy to invest, engage, collaborate, grow, and exit. The spirit of this philosophy has resulted in path-breaking transformations and winning exits for startups. Besides playing a key role at DVC, Dayakar serves as executive chairman at Global Outlook, board member at Hyperverge, Amplif AI, Viviota, CoreStack, Planar, board observer at Core.ai and Glimpse. Dayakar owned the P&L for the hosting and mobility solutions business at Microsoft. He was responsible for the incubation, development, and management of new mobility and cloud solutions. He also led the $350 million hosting business, which encompassed all product development, product management, marketing, and business development. He has been involved with the Dallas chapter of the Indus Entrepreneur TIE since 1999 and is currently a charter member. Dayakar is also a member of the board of US-India Chamber of Commerce. Dayakar is a featured speaker and mentor of NASSCOM Deep Tech Club, has also been featured in numerous publications including Forbes and Dallas Morning News. Dayakar earned a master's degree in computer science from Nova Southeastern University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker for today, Dayakar Puskoor.
So we have one more for Kutral.
Kutraleeswaran Ramesh, with over 15 years of experience spanning investments, corporate finance, and technology domains, Kutral is a dynamic and multifaceted leader. His global exposure and work experience across 6 different countries around the world provide him with a unique perspective on early-stage companies. Kutral is passionate about startups and has been actively involved in the space as an investor, founder, and advisor. As the principal and member of the investment committee at Flow Capital, he has assessed and provided growth capital to tech-enabled companies across North America. Kutral is not just a successful entrepreneur, but also a professional swimmer-athlete who has swum across 6 different trades, including the Park Strait, English Channel, and various trades in Italy and Australia to set a Guinness World Record for his accomplishments, and won the Junior World Championship title in marathon swimming in Switzerland in 1996. At the age of 17, he was decorated with the prestigious Arjuna Award, the highest sports accolade given by the Honorable President of India. Kutral is also a philanthropist at heart, running the Nanban Sports Foundation, conceptualized by him and backed by the Nanban Group, helps athletes who are struggling financially to support their sports activities. Nanban Sports Foundation has provided financial assistance for 16 young sportsmen hailing from an economically underprivileged background in Tamil Nadu. Kutral completed his bachelor's and master's in electrical engineering at Anna University and the University of Texas, respectively. He also holds an MBA from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Sloan School. With his vast experience and unique skill set, Kutral is sure to offer valuable insights into entrepreneurship, investment, and success. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our keynote speaker for today, Kutraleeswaran Ramesh.
Hello everyone, welcome Dayakar, welcome Kutral. Wow, what an introduction, isn't it? So it is such a privilege and honor to facilitate this conversation with two accomplished individuals. Dayakar Puskoor, whom I know for nearly 25 years, and Kutral, actually I know Kutral for more than 25 years. Okay, if Kutral is being surprised that I say that I know him for more than 25 years, he will get to know, you all will get to know like why I'm saying that I know Kutral for more than 25 years. But let me start with Dayakar. So as I said, I know Dayakar for nearly 25 years, and with all transparency to this audience, I started my career here with Dayakar. And one thing that Dayakar always stood for, and he still stands for, is he treats everyone with respect, and he treats every issue, every person on its merit. So that said, I'm going to let Dayakar indulge in this one question, okay? I was looking at that DVC portfolio of companies. There are several Chennai connections. Yairas and Natarajan, Core Stack, Subbu, Disperse, and in recent times, Karthik, Hippo Video. So share with this audience, what is the special connection that you have with Chennai, and what is so special about, not Chennai, Tamil Nadu, Madurai, everywhere. So what do you think is so special about this community here? Most of them have a Chennai connection here.
Thank you, Sriram. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? Thank you again. Thanks for inviting me. It's been an honor, to really join so many successful people. Kutral, wonderful, wonderful job you have done at Engage. So I'm pretty sure, GK is, happy to be part of his team. So same the way I feel like some of the people in our team also. I think it's people business, right? I think really, Sriram, as you know, you're one of the few, in our team, from Chennai. But same time, I always had somehow that connection with Chennai and Tamil Nadu, even though I'm from Hyderabad, right? I don't know how many of you know or not, but whenever I go to India, I always go to Madurai. So that's my kind of place. I really feel like you get so much just by nothing to religious, but really just by looking architecture of the temple, what Tamil Nadu has done, right? So that's what really it's a more of that connection. But it's amazing to see the talent really coming out of Chennai. What I have seen, India has done a great job with a lot of services companies. But lately, what I have seen, especially the last 10-15 years, product companies coming out, especially Chennai and Tamil Nadu, right? So we want to take advantage of it. So I think really when you know something, you have to take advantage of it. So the good news is really, first fund itself, this is almost 10 years back, we invested in a company called Hyperwatch. 3 IIT, kids started this company. Literally, I told them I want to come and meet your parents. I said why? So I said really most of the Chennai people are very conservative. And I don't know, they let you start companies because you are from IT, you can get really some good jobs, any big company. So I went and met really their parents, and then we invested in the company. I'm happy to tell you that company has become the leader in the KYC space right now. So the same way after that, then we invested in CoStack. Again, CoStack, we also met this company through one of my Chennai advisor. And IIT connection also helped us. Then the third company we invested really Disperse, which is actually Chennai based. This we met really through one of our ISB connections. And the fourth one, recent one, Hippo video, I'm happy to tell you, this is what's going to happen from Chennai in India. I'm pretty sure most of you know. Indian software companies, especially SaaS companies, going to dominate here because Hippo video do not have a single salesperson here. I can disclose the number. They are doing $4.2 million revenue already. Not a single salesperson. So that's what I kind of call a product-led revenue growth. They're able to do it. So I think from Indian companies, you can do that stuff.
Thank you, Dayakar. So Kutral, coming to you, when I said that I know you for more than 25 years, I can bet in this audience that anyone who grew up in the 90s would have definitely seen Kutral's photograph in the cover pages of leading vernacular as well as like national magazines. Do you all agree? Several hands. So it is in that context, I know you, Kutral, but even though like we only met in recent times, you made it sound as if you know me for a very long time, so that made me like feel good, okay? But you took a very important decision fairly early in your career, where you decided to pivot from a very successful professional career in swimming to focus on academics, from CEG Guindy to your alma mater here, UT Dallas. Give a big round of applause to Kutral. So Kutral's alma mater was UT Dallas. So from UT Dallas to MIT, and then starting your career with TI, Citi, private equity, venture capital. So you have been continuously transforming yourself and adapting yourself, and you have been immensely successful all along. And I'm sure like several in this audience, they are getting ready to transform themselves. So what are like some of your tips, your tricks on how you are able to make yourself so relevant during the course of all of these transformation in the last like several years?
Can everyone hear me? எல்லாருக்கும் வணக்கம் கேக்குதுங்களா Okay, perfect. So thank you for that, and first off, Dayakar, pleasure meeting you on the stage, and fantastic video, and thank you for a super phenomenal video of me, which was almost like close to exaggeration for me when I saw myself, like wow, okay, and thank you for the warm. And to your question, right, I would definitely say it's kind of a loaded question, because when I look back at the various things I've done, yes, there have been like complete pivots most of the time. But getting to the crux of what you asked, so one of the things which has been very helpful for me, right from my swimming days to maybe engineering and my business school days and all the way to today, it is somehow my kind of nature to kind of introspect at least once in 3 or 4 years to see where is it I'm going, and am I happy doing what I'm doing as of this particular point. And if possible, look at people who have been there, done that, and see where they are, and kind of picture myself to see whether this is something that I would be aspiring to. To give you an example, right, in my Intel days, so Intel used to be my dream company, right, even during my undergrad. I really took to electronics, I loved electronics, and after my undergrad I came to the US, and as Sriram was mentioning, I came to UTD back in 2003, and did my master's in microelectronics, and my dream company was Intel. Right, because Intel was the company, and they were doing the cutting edge kind of like anything to do with processors. We all look up to Intel, and that is a holy grail for anybody doing electronics per se, right? And after UTD, I was fortunate enough to get into Intel. I moved to California. I was with them for 3.5 years. So somehow the 3.5 years has been kind of my, my itching point when I kind of like start questioning where I am, right? So I was looking at the people in Intel for 10-15 years. They are very successful senior architects, or people doing anything in the engineering kind of realm. But somehow I couldn't relate to people I was seeing there, right? I couldn't imagine myself being in a cubicle coding or creating processors and so on and so forth. I really wanted to be out and about. I wanted to kind of like go win business. So somehow like something about me was not a cubicle person. So that kind of sent a light bulb. And that's when I started like exploring what else I could do, right? And you'll all be surprised, even when I was in Intel, this is after my master's, I didn't know what a balance sheet was. I didn't know what a P&L was. I had zero clue of financials, the world of finance. But then I knew I wanted to change, And then the exploration kind of began. So what could probably take me to the logical next step? And as I was kind of like understanding that, I kind of figured out B school will be a fantastic segue, because B school in my mind, it is just a junction box. You get into B school doing whatever, and then you get wherever you want to go, right? So that is essentially what B school is, and that's how I decided to pivot, and that's an example of how I pivot. I put my swimming to education. So that is more natural. That had nothing to do with introspection. It's more about being face to face with reality and asking ourselves whether what we're doing right now is kind of keeping us afloat on all fronts, right? Because whatever you're doing, it has to keep you financially afloat, it has to keep you emotionally afloat, and it also has to keep you totally peaceful, right? In terms of swimming, everything was there. Yes, fortunately, I had a very interesting career. Thank you for all the, I really am grateful for all the opportunities I had. But when the reality hits you, there was no corporate sponsorships whatsoever. And I come from a very humble background. My native zeroed, and I completely grew up in Chennai. And my family couldn't afford beyond a point, because every international competition I had to go, my family had to shell out lakhs of rupees. And this I'm talking about like 25, 30 years ago, when lakhs of rupees was really a big deal back then. Even now it is, but you can imagine kind of like taking like 25, 30 years ago. Of course, I got fantastic support from the government for a couple of years, but the government cannot keep supporting you year after year. And unless there are corporate sponsorships, it is impossible to kind of like stick on to your sporting career for a longer time. So that is the reality. When I was the reality, I was around like 17 years old, and I kind of figured, hey, this is not something I want to put my family through. And secondly, even my shelf life after I retired was a very big question mark without any education in India. I did see very successful at one like international level competitions. They were really struggling to make ends meet once they kind of like retire, unless they're from cricket or any other favorite, popular sport. So that is a decision based on reality, right? So typically, coming back to your question,
Sure.
For me, it's about getting to face with reality, and also kind of introspecting, which kind of dictates what is it I want to take next. So that's that.
Amazing, Kutral. I think you reinforced it at the end. Several takeaways, but as Kutral summarized, some of the key takeaways which really like stands out for me are facing the reality, self-introspection once in like a few years, 3-4 years. And I thought I picked up one other sound bite, lifelong learning. I think like Kutral kept himself like very relevant by keeping his learning experience relevant to what his interests are. Amazing journey, Kutral. So Dayakar, if I can turn to you, okay, the real venture question, which most in the audience are waiting for. So we heard like Ganesh's story, and I thought it was unreal. He's a gifted founder, Ganesh, and it was quite easy for Ganesh, I thought, to, even though like he spent a lot of time, 70-80% of his time in raising money, his journey was very unique, very inspiring. But that said, one of the big anxieties for any startup that is wanting to raise money is, hey, like how am I going to impress my VC? So what is it like you look for in terms of the attributes in a startup that will make you invest in them? And most importantly, okay, this is $1 million question. How do you evaluate them?
That's a big question. So one thing I would like to say, whenever I meet entrepreneurs, first thing I look at the team, and spend some time with them. Unfortunately, as you know, during COVID time, we could not spend a lot of time with entrepreneurs. But I almost figured out, even on the video, you can get it, really. Once you watch their facial expressions, when you ask a question, as I think Ganesh mentioned, that humility, are they willing to, take any type of coaching from you, right? Even they already have some customers. Are they really saying like they need any help in any areas? Because I look at it as an entrepreneur, you always need help. No matter, as a CEO, you always need help, right? As you mentioned right now, now you focus a lot more on the customers, especially you need customers, right? So how they are looking at the customer, and how they are willing to build their team also. I have seen, I don't want to mention, but one of my friend of mine from Microsoft is, from Harvard, and I asked him a question when he wants to leave Microsoft. What do you want to do? No, I don't want to give up any of my company. I want to hire people. So that's kind of set me off. If somebody not even willing to share, when the company is successful, I kind of call like 100% zero is zero, right? If you don't build a company with a team, and you're not willing to give up from the beginning itself, then this person is not going to really grow a company. So that's one thing. Team and the character of the person is very, very important. Other thing also look at the passion in the person, because, as you know, like startup is really, really hard. I've been through 10 years. It goes ups and downs, raised, $55 million, Sriram, then we kind of went down, then, come back again and all that. So you had to make sure a family supports. It could be wife or a husband. Do they have that support? Otherwise, there's no way you can go through those 10 years of. I always tell people it's going to take 10 years for you to, success are fail pretty quickly. So team. The other thing also, we do look for the traction. That's where really, look at. It doesn't have to be like company, especially where we invest, hundreds of millions of revenue. But do they have any early traction with the product market fit? Are they going after that what the ideal customer profile? Did they define anything? If they did not define, what are they looking for, right? So that's the second thing. We look at team traction. Of course, other thing also we look for the TAM, total available market, within that space. It doesn't have to be billions, but have they done their enough homework? Because one company, I can tell you, came to us, we went through all the analysis, and he said, I'm going to own almost 90% of market, and then say, we can did it in a quick numbers, it's going to be only $10 million, even if he gets a 90% market, right? So that's where really we kind of look for, make sure they're addressing at least $200, $300 million market. In that way, even if they get 20, 30%, it will be a good sized company. End of the day, how they can get exit. So the valuations wise, really, as you know, Sriram, it's been crazy, especially last few years. But now, kind of setting reality. I always tell entrepreneurs, don't get on the valuation. Are you getting the right investor first? Are they going to help you? Are they going to stay with you? Are they going to call you every week? Do they worry about, when you raise a next level of capital, you want to make sure somebody understands you, right? That's one thing, I always tell these entrepreneurs, I've been as an entrepreneur. And that's what really, kind of always I feel I'm an entrepreneur investing in other entrepreneurs. So valuations wise, really, there's all over, really. But generally, I tell people, if you already have a SaaS company, if you already got to $1-2 million revenue, if you can grow what I kind of call it, this is, I'm pretty sure most of you heard, triple, double revenue, then you're a unicorn. So that's not, I don't think not many companies are going to do, but some of the companies do it. In our portfolio company, they have even double the revenue. So those guys will get valuations anywhere 10 to 20 times of revenue. Sure. So it's all kind of the market availability. Your growth makes a difference.
Thank you, Dayakar. So it is the team, the traction, and the TAM that matters. And on the valuation part, your advice is don't worry about the valuation; it will happen automatically. So Kutral, if I can turn that question back to you, and I know, I have spoken to some of the CEOs of your portfolio companies. They really appreciate your team's due diligence efforts, and it looks like you subject them to severe scrutiny. So walk us through, how do you really pick up your companies to invest, and what do you look for in the startup before you decide on investing in them?
Thank you, Sriram. And this question is the most difficult to answer as the second one to answer, because Dayakar has pretty much summarized the high level of any investor what they look at. So if you look at Nanban Ventures, right, and you're absolutely right. We know we're in a very high risk, high reward kind of a business, right? We know to start with, especially when we invest in early stage companies. We started as a seed fund to begin with, and now we have kind of upscaled to kind of go to Series A, B companies, where the risk profile is slightly different. But even if we look at late seed through Series A, we know for a fact that if we're going to be investing in 10 companies, we are going to be expecting 2 or 3 to make it really big, and 5 or 6 to kind of go belly up. So that is the nature of the game, right? Having said that, one of the key critical aspects which we see, because we are investing in such early phase of any particular company, to see any kind of early traction with customers. And previously, as Ganesh was talking, and even Dayakar mentioned, is customers. When I look at a pitch deck, the first slide I see is the team. Who's the team? Have they done it before? Is there any kind of pedigree? And what kind of background they come with? And that is one of the slides I pay a lot of attention to. And straight away, I go to the last slide, where I see what is their pipeline, who their customers are. to kind of get this first 1 minute kind of sense of what the company is, right? And those 2 slides, believe me, speaks volumes, right? And only after I kind of see, okay, even if they have 2 or 3 customers that early stage, who the customers are, how sticky are they, how long have they been in the company, and so on and so forth. Only after that, I even like go to see, okay, what is their kind of like different aspects. But of course, TAM is very important. But at the end of the day, you don't want to kind of spend all your energies if the TAM is like $10 million, right?
Yeah.
The nature of VC is to kind of like multiplex.
Mm-hmm.
And within ventures, we have kind of like created our own kind of proprietary risk model where we see 100 plus data points for every company that comes in, which is almost automated right now. So we take that guiding force. But coming back to this, I lay a lot of stress and importance to who the customers are, and our diligence involves speaking to the customers. Without speaking to the customers, we make no investments. For instance, one of the companies last year, we went through almost the final stage of diligence. We kind of checked everything in both our business and legal and financial diligence. But when we spoke to the customers, that is our final kind of a straw. We have to absolutely speak. We couldn't connect the dots between what the customer told us and what the company was saying and matching between the revenues, and we did not land up investing. Because unless there are customers, and to the previous Ganesh, you were exactly right, your product speaks for itself, right? When the customers speak for the company, it makes the job that much more easier, and that is where most of our kind of effort and kind of clutch point goes at. Financials, everything else, because an early stage company, yes, you can get a 5-year projection, but it's anybody's guess, right? Because financial projections, you just need to know for the first 2 years, are they going to survive?
Right.
And who the other investors are. There are kind of like so many more nuances which we kind of like see. So cumulatively, we make the decision. Coming back, it's the customers and the traction.
Awesome, awesome. I think the emphasis on customers and speaking to customers, I think like that is what is the deal sealer in many occasions. That is the experience I've heard from other VCs too. So this time maybe if I can start with you, Kutral, okay? Just as how the VCs go through heavy scrutiny of the startups sometimes are also very choosy about whom they would want to invest in them. So they are looking at like, hey, what can I get back from the VCs? Not just the money, but more than just the money. So how do you try to meet those expectations from your startups?
Absolutely. So you're spot on there, Sriram. So pretty much these days, right, capital is a commodity. Anybody with a deep wallet can give you capital, but startups, especially the early stage we're talking about, all the way even up to Series B and Series C, they all need some kind of value add and guidance, and the network of the VCs and investors they're going to be kind of getting married to, right? I'm using the word marriage because it's a long-term relationship. Anybody investing in like late seed or even like Series B, C, it is not a 1 or 2 years, even a few years kind of relationship, as Dayakar said. It's almost a 10-year kind of relationship, right? So the first things all the portfolio companies ask us is like, what is it that you can bring to us, where you can help us, also of capital, because capital is something they can get from anywhere, right? So naturally from ventures point of view, we have a very, very unique value proposition we bring to the table. And thanks to the Nanban group of companies and even our CEO GK is here, so we already have captive investors in our other kind of verticals like hedge funds or realty and so on and so forth, right? So all of these people are pretty much accomplished in their particular fields. And we have like experts from marketing, we have experts from finance, we have experts from product management, whatnot. And we are always more than willing to open up that network to our portfolio companies, because at that particular stage, they might have some kind of challenge in the marketing, branding, or go-to-market, or something in the technology kind of an aspect. So if we can connect, kind of join the dots with somebody, a senior engineer in Apple, to them, they'll have so much of perspective and value add. Right? So that's how we kind of like manage. We bring so much to the table, also to the capital.
Sure.
The second thing is also our connections to India, right? And most of the startups, I know there's a lot of startups which is like, as Dayakar was saying, India, especially Chennai, has become the capital of SaaS capital of the world. So there's a lot of like push from India to the US, but also company in the US. 2 of our portfolio companies, they're very keen on entering the Indian market, and that is where we can kind of make connections. Like our own kind of network. If they want to talk to a Flipkart, they want to talk to some kind of like major company in India. So those are the kind of aspects when ventures bring to the table, but you're absolutely right. Portfolio companies need guidance and they seek guidance, and that's how it should be.
Awesome.
So it's going in the right direction.
Sure. Thank you, Kutral. Lot of like information packed into it. Thank you, Kutral. So Dayakar, if I may turn the same question to you, how do you help meet your startups' expectations?
I think like startups, the main thing is they look for of course number one thing they want capital, right? Number two, I want to make sure, like as I mentioned before, are they looking for any connections and coaching, right? So we all just put together, we coined this one DVC advantage. Within that one we have 4 pillars. One is of course really what I kind of call not only introduction but also closing the deal. That's the one thing I have seen as an entrepreneur when I raise money from a lot of big VCs. They would do a lot of good introductions into CEO of like a Chase, right? But please guess it. Like a CEO of Chase is going to take my call and really help me close the deal. Like that's with. So trying to help them through back channel. We have done it. For a few of our companies, and it's been a really good help for them. Especially when you're doing it after Series A, they need that logos and also revenue. Number one. Once they get to Series C, they can hire a VP sales and all that. So that's where we think that A to see there's a gap. We try to fill with number one pillar is the really business development and sales. Number two is really getting people to hire. That's the biggest problem as an entrepreneur. I've gone through like a 7 VP of sales. It's hard to hire good salespeople, business development people, channel people. So the second one. Third one, of course, helping them really. I'm pretty sure a lot of other VCs also do. Pretty much getting the fundraise. Our company Dispos right now, we are able to get them a major VC here to fundraising. Fourth one, of course, at the end of the day, helping them exit. So in that way, they can realize, our LPs also can realize, right? So that's what we feel like those 4 pillars are very important.
Thank you, Dayakar. I think like we can go on and on. We've got a lot to unpack by speaking to these three eminent professionals, but you can hear the beep sound here. The time is up. I want to take this opportunity to thank both Kutral and Dayakar for sharing their wisdom. Hope you all found it very useful. They are going to be here around, so if you have like any questions, you can later on like chat with them. Please join me in giving a big round of applause for Kutral and Dayakar. Thank you.
Now I invite Mr. Sriram Krishnan to recognize Mr. Kutral and Mr. Dayakar on their accomplishments.
Thank you, Kutral.